Greetings and God morning. Welcome back to Third Ear Radio. For those of you, okay, I got a little feedback in my mind. Okay. Got a little feedback. Excuse me. Welcome back this morning. And as always, we're going to open up our morning with meditation with the master, Ruth. I am Precious McGill, but you can call me Queen P. Okay, Ruth, if you could please take us into meditation.
Okay, breathing in deeply. Good morning. How's everybody doing? Let's do a little breathing, going deep, and breathe in and allow yourself to blow it out slowly. Breathing in again and allowing yourself to just be in the moment. Knowing that as we open our intuitive mind to the universal spirit, which we sometimes call God, Allah, Buddha, whatever, we know that we are one with the universe and we are one with ourselves, and we are into the intuitive which is within us. Today we bless this show knowing that our guests will say words that will enhance your life and make you greater aware of who you are. Today we know that this moment was created out of the mind of God. And so we know that all is well and that it will be the greatest show that we can have. And we give thanks for this. And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you. Mm-hmm. How was your weekend, Ruth?
You know, weekends are always fantastic for me. You know, it's really funny because we're talking about intuitive and astrology today. I was at church and they talked about the power of the conscious mind. Mm-hmm. Being in awareness, allowing yourself to hear and to hear with that third ear so that you're going deeper than just what you think you're hearing. My thing is, what are you thinking about when you're thinking about what you're thinking about? So
that's our show topic this week is intuition. I like to say divine intuition because intuition is that inner knowing, and the inner knowing is God in many forms. Angels, the angelic beings, guides, whatever you, okay, those who have been with us.
And I say that because what I've learned is, you know, we hear all kinds of things as we're moving through the day. Sometimes we can be walking somewhere and we don't see a knot in the road that we can trip on, and somebody will bump into us, and before we know it, we're ready to get an attitude, and that bump saved us from falling. Mm-hmm. So we have to stay in awareness and allow our intuitive third eye, third ear, everything that we are, be a little bit more open to hearing, to understanding that it could be touch, it could be music. Mm-hmm. So many things that open us up and bring us to an idea or let us know that we can. Okay. You know, when people are saying we can't, that music will say something. You say, hey, I know those words. It sounds like it's connecting me with a thing I've been thinking about. You know, we were talking yesterday about songs from the 60s and the 70s because they all were about love, you know, and sometimes they said little undercover stuff, but most of the songs were about love. And it really is amazing that now, even though the music sounds different, the call in the music is for love.
Okay.
So, you know, you have to kind of listen and be aware.
Before we go too deep into the topic, I want to let you guys know that today, in our second half of our hour, we're going to have a special guest, Sonia Marie. I'm very excited to have this sister in studio today. She is phenomenal, and she'll be able to add to our conversation about intuition. Some people think about intuition, the first thing that comes to their head is psychic. Okay, psychics do tune into their intuitive ability, but they're not one and the same. Your intuitive ability, First off, everybody has some type of intuitive ability. God speaks to and through us all. Now, there's the difference between hearing and listening also. So yes, each of us have that intuitive ability, and no, not all of us listen to it, but we can. We can tune up the volume. We can turn the volume up on that. Sometimes people ask me, particularly those that may seek counsel from me, Precious, how do I exercise my intuitive ability? And my answer is always to just listen more, to be more present. And it's not anything that you can think your way into. You actually have to come out of your head in order to allow it to happen. It can happen in many different ways.
That's why I'm an advocate of meditation.
Yes.
I find that when you get up in the morning, if you get yourself centered, If you're out during the day and you have a task that you have to do, stop and take a breath just before you do it so that you're aware and you can hear and know what you really are supposed to do. And, one thing about meditation is that it's not hard. It's not like work. And people sometimes say, I don't have time to meditate. I say, if you can pray, you can meditate. Because it only takes a few moments of commitment and intention that within that time, you will open yourself up to everything that is available, not only in that moment, but throughout the day. I'm willing to open up my third ear. I'm willing to hear. Even when you are at work or when you're talking with your children or even today in this moment as we're speaking, we're allowing ourselves to hear that voice that says, okay, ask this question or say this, make this statement. And meditation is something that is so easily done. I call it the lifesaver because many times when we're about to do something that's a little bit crazy, you'll hear a voice that says, really? Or no, or stop, or just breathe.
Or go with it.
And go, or go with it.
Or go with it.
Because crazy might be good.
It might be good in that moment.
So we have to, in preparation, if you get up in the morning or have a committed time during the day where you say, I'm going to take 10, 15 minutes and I'm really just going to allow myself to sit, be in the moment and just allow myself to breathe so that I can take in all of everything that is available to me in this moment, in this day, in this time. And I assure you, as you do it on a daily basis, you will begin to see changes coming into your life.
I agree with you, Ruth. I believe that the more you pay attention to it pays attention to you. And it's not a religious thing. It's not it's energy work, really. It's about opening yourself up, allowing the divine presence to move through you. I notice for me, it changes. Sometimes it can be a voice. Sometimes it can be a feeling. Most often for me, it moves through my emotion. Like I may pick up the emotions of other people. I may sense an unwellness in a person's body. And also because of my ability, I often have to, and we were talking about this before we came on air, I have to take a moment and separate, is this me feeling this or am I feeling what someone else is feeling? Once I started to recognize that it wasn't just coincidence and that it was indeed intuitive ability, I started to pay attention to it more and it grew in ways that I wasn't prepared for most often. But I just opened myself up to it and tried to move out of the way when something wakes me up in the middle of the night or when I'm meeting people and something comes over me. I try my best to move out of the way.
Well, one of the things I know and how I really became aware of intuition and meditation, how they were twins, was there was a period of time in my life when I didn't go to church. I had gone to church when I was a kid, but you know how you get to be a teenager, you get young adult, and I just kind of dropped away. But a friend of mine introduced me to a meditation class, and I said, I don't want to go, but I'm going to sneak in and go, and if I don't like it, I'll hit the back door, nobody know I'm there. Out. So I went in and I enjoyed the meditation, and within that, the teacher said, if you can just allow yourself 15 minutes a day, you're going to see changes. So I said, okay. So the next morning I got up at 4:30 and I committed to the 15 minutes by setting an egg timer. I had absolutely no idea what I was doing, but I made the commitment. Well, what I learned was it was about commitment to being in the moment. And that as I did more of that commitment, when I would leave out during the day, and I think I've told you I was doing a job change and thinking about opening a business, the ideas of what I was supposed to do, I could be out somewhere and something would say, go in this building, and talk to this person. I found the building that I opened my first hair salon because I was driving down the street and there was this building sitting there with all this stuff sitting in it, right? And I looked over and something said, that's your spot.
But see, you listened.
And I listened.
You heard and you listened.
Yeah, so that's why I realized that meditation and intuition are like twins. Because when I committed to taking that time for myself, it wasn't about the word meditation. It was about the commitment to me sitting and being. And out of that came the intuitive, which began to become more and more and more on a daily basis, the more I committed to me. The sitting was about me.
Right. I noticed, like, when I was growing up, I would always hear my mom say, the Holy Spirit told me. Mm-hmm. And at first I kind of thought, like, well, right. Is the Holy Spirit against me? Because you always rat me out, you know. But I realized when I was more mature that my mother was listening to that divine, intuitive nudge from the inside. Mm-hmm. And it was always right. So the more I began to listen to it, I noticed it was always right, but I had to divorce my need to be right. I had to separate myself from my need to know. And it was in the emptying out, moving out of the way, that more information came in. It's divine information. We are all connected, whether we like it or not. We're all connected, and that connection has divine intelligence. And essentially that's what intuition is. It's a divine intelligence that you're instantly connected to, and it's added to your awareness. You don't really have to work for it. You just have to be open to it. And you can't really think your way into it. You kind of have to move out of your head into your heart, open up, and then be ready. Because I've had some things happen with me where I didn't even know that that's what was happening. Like, I looked up and it's like, wait a minute. Oh, I don't do this. I don't even believe in this stuff, but it's happening right now. So, that would be my advice to people who want to increase their intuitive ability. Be willing to move out of the way, and be willing, to be not attached to how God is moving through you, because you just don't know. It could change at any moment.
Well, I think it's like this. You have to be willing to take a free fall.
Yes.
And I'm also going to say,
I like that,
what
Ruth.
we're talking about is not about religion. It has nothing to do with your church practices, anything that you want to do. What it has to do with is you becoming intimate and knowing you, allowing yourself to say, I know my minister said that, but I'm going to take it deeper and see what it really says to me. How does it resonate? And whether you know it, when you take that moment, you've gone into a meditative, intuitive moment to allow spirit to talk to you so that you get the true answer of what the sermon was about that day. You see, we make sometimes meditation or things that we talk about like, ooh, what is that? Voodoo, whatever. But the truth of the matter is God sends all of these different ways because the spirit wants you to just get to it. It wants you to enjoy life and be here to have joy and not so much of the sadness and all of the things that go on. But we're in avoidance because we're looking for somebody to tell us what we can tell ourselves.
And we can just listen, divinely inside. Tune on into the inside, because that message is the most important message that you're going to hear today, tomorrow, yesterday, any day. It's the divine intelligence. And you mentioned something earlier about love being the theme. Absolutely. As someone who admits to and allows intuitive ability, I noticed that some people lean toward a more negative energy. You got to tune yourself up on the inside, because God is love. It's not that you can't see disease or sickness or illness on someone, but it comes a responsibility when you're delivering a message, because God is love. So God is delivering love. And in that moment, if you're opening yourself up to your divine intuitive ability, how you have to be responsible for how you deliver the information that you share, because the idea is to get people to turn inward to God, to more love.
Okay, and I want to say this. Know that you are worthy.
Oh, yes.
Because many times the reason we look so far outside of ourselves is we say, oh, I've done this, or I've done that in my life. And because of the kind of person I've been, that these things can't open up for me. God does not discriminate. The universe does not discriminate.
Absolutely.
You have the right to have the wonderful, joy-filled life. Be worthy in the morning, in the moment. Know that if you did something, it's a mistake. People make them all the time. Forgive yourself, keep moving, and stay in the moment. Be willing to say, I don't care. I fail. I'm getting back up, put a Band-Aid on and keep it moving. Because one of the things I know a couple of years back, I was working in a hair salon. I had closed my business and said I was retired, but then, it was in my blood. So I was back in another salon. And I kind of wanted it, but I was going through dedicating myself to what I'm doing now, or do I really want to do hair? And so what happened? The girl who opened the salon came in one day. She says, I'm done. I'm not doing hair no more. And she handed me the keys. She said, when I sell it, you can move out. Well, 2 years later, I was still in there working with the girls in the salon. And Spirit said, really, Ruth, is this what you want to do?
Right.
And you know, I began to meditate and really allow my spirit to be clear. And that was when I started my radio show, The Energy of God, where I went on and I did 15-minute meditations. And that was the groundwork for getting me here. But I had to, within the moment, say, really, Ruth? And as I was sitting there and I realized that I had loved hair, but it had served its purpose. So, we got a phone call?
Yes, we have a phone
good.
call.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello, caller. How can we help you?
Yes, I was listening and I'm trying to understand more. You're speaking on getting out of my own way.
Absolutely.
And I'm trying to figure out how do I get out of my own way. Is I like be more transparent, be less reluctant, be more giving. I'm trying to understand how to get out of my own way.
Okay. Thank you for your question. It's a really good question. The only advice I could give you is to just be. Just be present. When your mind is traveling, you're in your head. To get out of your own way, you have to kind of be present. Know your vibration and understand when you're moving into the space as opposed to being open in the space. Moving out of your way entails, first you have to know your vibration and know when you're impeding, or when you're just allowing. It's about allowing God. Move out of the way. Ruth, would you like to add to that?
Well, what I find is, I'm going to go back to what I said. Take 5 minutes. You know, if you want to really be clear and be free and know who you are, what's going on, take 5 minutes. Say, you know what? In the middle of somebody offering you something, say, hey, man, I got to run to the restroom. I'll be right back. You go in the restroom, you take a breath, and you stand and you say, what in this moment, what does that mean for me? Or either just stand there. Don't even make it a question. Just be in the moment. Take time to be alone. You see, one of the things I've learned is that we listen too much outside of ourselves for other people to tell us things. If somebody offers you something, you say, man, what do you think about that? Well, my thing is, what am I thinking about when I'm thinking about what I'm thinking about? What do I want?
Mindfulness.
Because at the end of the day, whatever decision you make, it's going to affect you. So why would you even think of asking a friend or something? Learn to take a moment. Right. Whether you're eating your food and it's not going down well, take a moment. Say, I'm going to sit back from the table and let myself digest. We've got to learn to slow down and take time to care for us.
There's an exercise, caller, that I do with my clients when I want them to bring their presence into the room and be mindful of their being. I ask them to just be still, close their eyes, and then swallow. And notice the click that happens between your ears when you swallow. And then take a deep breath and feel the air through your nose over your lungs. See, that's being present. You're in this moment. Nothing else is happening other than that swallowing and that breathing, and your full attention is on that thing. That is being present. That is moving out of the way. That's an exercise that leads into it.
Because one of the exercises that I learned when I first started meditating was be conscious of the breath. So when we breathe in through the nose, cup our mouth, and blow it off the tip of our nose. And as you focused on that, it took you from all of the outside noise and all of the things that are going on, because you were thinking about, is that breath going to hit the tip of my nose? You know, but what it did is it calmed you down and brought you to a space so you were totally in the moment. And over a period of time, all of the voices, all of the things that were going on in my head began to go away. My hearing became clearer. My thought pattern became clear. I made better decisions for myself in life and for my children, because I could hear the voice saying, Ruth, this is what I got for you.
Right, listening.
And I was listening so much better. So I hope that helps you.
Yes, indeed. So it's more or less making time for me right now.
In this moment. Because that's all you have. When the next moment arrives, it will too be this moment. In this moment, be present. Yes. Thank you for calling. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, that was a great question, and it is something that we can all do, is to be present and be listening. You know, so many times people say, oh, something told me to turn right and I did it, or I didn't do it. You know, sometimes just try listening to that thing. And if it takes you to where you want to be, or a lovely place, you're doing some good listening. If you listen to that thing and it takes you to a bad place, you might be listening to the wrong voice. You know?
One of the things that I know is if you really, want to get clear too, go sit with some children. Because the energy, the child energy is so innocent.
Pulls you out of yourself.
They're not hung up on anything. Mm-hmm. And, it's amazing because you can sit there and you can say something and they'll come back with a little answer and you go, and because you got to remember that they came through the womb and they don't have fresh. All the hang-ups and the problems and the things on their minds that you do. And if you've noticed lately, how many children are they bringing on television? You're seeing children now who are creating... This little boy said he's going to create a cure for cancer.
I love it.
We have boys, little girls who have opened up their own companies. And they say, well, where'd you get the idea? And they said, well, I was playing with my little toy and I thought I could share this with other kids. And you go, wow. But if we could just sit on the floor sometime and just be that innocent in the moment, get on the floor and roll a ball with your kids, or sometimes even as adults, go play some jacks, put a puzzle together,
get on a swing,
get on a swing. And I do, because, sometimes we're just too grown. And grown folks don't know everything.
One thing I love to do? One thing I love to do is I love going to the spa and sitting in the spa. And I love the Korean spas because it's a requirement that you don't have your clothes on. And so not too many people are willing to speak with you freely when you're naked. So I like to go and be naked and be one with God, because I don't have to worry about people really interacting with me too much. It's very quiet and serene. Something about the steam and the smell of the essential oils, it really helps me.
Haven't you learned when you go to those spas that as you look around, they're there in the moment.
They're present too,
and they're concentrating on their bodies. And no matter, I've seen women of all ages,
shape,
and
size,
as they're sitting
colors.
there, they're working on their body, and as they're working on their body, they're allowing themselves to go in, be intimate with themselves, pray for themselves, heal themselves, because we have healing hands. Sometimes there are women who don't even touch their bodies. We will let a man touch what we don't touch. We'll let a man see what we won't even look in the mirror and look at. But men sometimes, I guess, could be the same way. But I'm coming from the female point of view, being in our spa. But what I'm saying is, we've got to be, like I said, willing to free fall, become vulnerable in this life so that the things that we want can come to us. And when we can drop all of the barriers and say, you know what, here I am.
Yes.
I have no agenda other than to live my best life. All I'm going to do is just sit here and allow the universe, or whatever it is, the intuitive mind, whatever we want to call it, just speak to me in this moment. Or, like I said, if you go to the park and you get on a swing, everything is done through intention. What is your intention?
And one thing I love, Ruth, is that sometimes you feel like it is too quiet. I haven't heard anything. No one is coming my way. Maybe it's broken. Maybe my intuition isn't working. And that's just not the case. Usually what I find is when it's the most still and the most quiet, God is the most active. That is our opportunity to really rest and be still. And also with intuition, there comes a certain level of trust that you have to have. You just got to trust the process. You don't really know what's happening. You just got to trust that it is happening, and not to really lean into your own brilliance and genius, because it's not about you. I am really quick to, when I've stepped in to be of assistance or be a vessel with someone, and they're like, Precious, thank you. You helped me so much. I'm quick to say, to God be the glory, because it is God. It is not me. any point ever has it ever been me. Anytime that I've stepped in to assist someone, I've always allowed God through me. And that's how intuition works. You have to allow it through you. Then it's always magnificent. It's always on time. It always resonates. And I love that because we don't have to rely on our own self. We can move self out of the way and allow God to just happen magnificently. Just allow it to unfold. Go into the moment blind, unaware, and tune into the divine awareness. And then it just happens. It's magical. I love it. And I like the feeling of vulnerability, not really knowing. I'm going to be with these people, to sit with these people and work with them, and I don't have a clue about what's about to go down.
Well,
I do know what's going down,
I want to say this. When I was working in the hair salon, I would work on clients, but what I talked about is what I really loved and what I did. So I would be talking about meditation, all kinds of, stuff that I was doing, and people would come back and they say, girl, I was listening to what you said, and that really assisted me. And I was like, what did I say? Because when you allow yourself to be in that moment and you're a willing vessel saying, you know what, just here I am. The things that you need to, the kind of conversations, the things that you need to say to people will come as an automatic.
Yes.
They can't come any other way because you've emptied yourself out so that you can give whatever it is you want to give. And I never thought of them as... I never thought about it as a work or working with clients or anything. It was just something I did. So the reason I had a hard time getting out of that hair shop, and I'm still doing it one day a week on the low, was because they would say, Ruth, pray for me. Or they would say, Ruth, just do my hair and talk to me, girl. Because if you talk, I'm going to hear what I need to hear.
It's a ministry.
Just talk. And so I want you to be aware that ministries and in the work that we do, everybody's doing it. When people are around you, you're doing the work. Children are listening to you. People are what they call it, side hearing on you.
Ear hustling.
Ear hustling you. Yeah, ear hustling. Listening to your conversations. You got to be aware of your words, So what I say is, and I believe, take a breath. Take a breath. You ain't got to commit to, if you don't want to commit to meditation, commit to when I get up in the morning, I get ready to say good morning to my husband, I'm going to take a breath. When I get ready to go talk to my kids who are moving too slow that I want to kill, take a breath. And they're going to go out there and say, something wrong with mama. She didn't even holler at us this morning. But you're allowing them to know, I know what you're going to do. And then if you continue to do it, they begin to change because they realize you're treating them away and they want to treat you away. We can heal relationships and change the world through our breath and what we're thinking and what we speak. Our words are so powerful and they permeate out all over the universe. As we are speaking right now, we think we're on the radio. We're in God's world. This stuff is going on.
We are in God's world. Yes, we are.
So we know that we're talking here. You're hearing us and you're going to go out and say to somebody, girl, let me tell you what they were talking about this morning. Because it's important that we remember, take a breath, be in the moment, allow that intuitive to just speak and tell you and just say yes.
Yes.
And when you say yes, your life will begin to change.
Yes. Okay, so Ruth, we're about to go into our break.
Let's do something different.
Okay.
As we go into the break, I want whoever is listening with us, as the music begins to play, to take a breath.
Yes.
And sit for a moment, if you can, wherever you are with your eyes closed and say, you know what, just for a few minutes, I'm going to be right here.
I love it.
I think you're going to be changing your life.
Yes, I agree.
Okay. What are we listening to today? What if...
God had a name, what would it be, and would you call it to his face? If you were faced with him in all his glory, what would you ask if you had just one question? That's what I need to know. Yeah, yeah, God is great. Yeah, yeah. God is good and yeah.
God were one of us. I say that God is all of us. Okay, so thank you for staying with us. We're back from the break now, and our guest today in studio is the lovely Sonia Marie. Before I bring her on, I would like, oh wait, here she is. Okay. Sonia Marie of Word Life Astrology. She writes the astrology column for Essence. She's appeared on other shows such as the Steve Harvey Show and The Doctors. I'm going to play a clip really quick. Oh, okay. No worries. We're just going to go ahead and jump right in. We're just going to go with the divine flow. Thank you for joining us today, Sonia.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Pull this mic back over in front of you a little bit.
Okay,
yeah.
got it.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
So, Sister Sonia, you are an astrologer. Can you let our audience at home know what that means? Because I'm sure people have a idea, but they may not know exactly.
Well, astrology is the intuitive science of our universe. And basically, when we slide through our mother's wombs, we are given a personality imprint based on what the universe looked like when we were born. So it's definitely based on the time, date, and place of your birth.
Okay.
So what that looks like, I always explain it like this, is that we come in with our spirit. It's who we are. Even as twins,
Yes.
each twin has its own spirit, but they get the same imprint, right? That imprint is the universe laid out with the sun in a particular sign, the moon in a particular sign, Mercury, and so on and so forth, that assist you to do your spirit's job. So how am I going to live my purpose this time around? I'm going to live my purpose. I'm going to be a banker like an Aquarius. I'm going to be a dancer like a Cancer. I like the way I did that, right?
Yes. A little rhyme.
You know, so it's basically our outfit of our journey this time around. And that's what I do. So what I do is I utilize people's natal chart. Astrologers vary, right? Everybody has their own mojo. Everybody does it the way that they do it. Like we were speaking earlier today, I utilize spirit in the way in which I can help people to see not only their gifts and their blessings in life, but the things that block them and their fears. Because I believe awareness is key.
Right.
And if we are aware of what it is that our personality holds, what's holding us back, then we can hold ourselves responsible for living the best life that we have. We can't point our fingers to our mother and our father, our children, our husband, our wives. We can't say, you made me do that. You made me feel this way. No, well, let's look at what you're responsible for.
Right.
Let's see what type of makeup you have so you can tweak, so you can adjust, or you can just say, you know what, this is who I'm going to be, and live with it. You can do that too.
So though we have the imprints, we can work within that to guide our purpose.
Well, the thing about it is that you chose this imprint.
Right.
In my opinion.
Love that.
In my opinion,
I agree.
You chose that imprint. You said, this time around, I choose these fears. I choose these blessings. I choose my mother. I choose my father. I choose these things because this is my incarnation this time around.
You know, my understanding was that as we choose to come to the planet, we choose what life we want to live this time for the experience of being in that moment.
Absolutely.
Right. So how would you encourage people to get interested in astrology? Because a lot of people are afraid of it. They think, oh, why is she going to tell me something that I don't want to know about me?
Or they think it's a religion.
Yeah, they think
it's,
you know, it's like I got to follow it because I got to live my daily life. But how do you get them, what is the key to getting them interested in wanting to know those things?
Well, first of all, you have to release. You have to do yourself a favor and surrender and release all the preconceptions that you have. Because if you really, really think about it, as we already know, everything on the planet is a tool from God.
Everything.
Every single thing. Red velvet cake.
Hello.
You know,
that's a great tool.
My sister right there.
Everything is a tool.
Right.
To assist us. So if we can surrender into that, then we open up the ability to receive it.
Yeah.
Because you can have books on top of books on top of books, spend thousands of dollars in courses, but if your heart is shut down,
right.
if your mind is doing its own thing and playing tricks on you, then you're not going to receive it the way you need to.
Right.
So first of all, relax. Secondly, just look at astrology as a way of bettering yourself, in my opinion, bettering yourself and your relationships with other people.
Can you take it away from what's your sign? You know, back in the day when the guy would meet you, he said, well, what's your sign? You know, well, can we go past that?
Well, right. Well, the thing is that astrology is so ridiculously vast. It's like looking up into the heavens and seeing all of these stars and planets and configurations, and you're like, whoa, like the brain honestly can't decipher it all.
It's not even supposed to.
It's not.
Yeah.
It really isn't. So to get away from that would be kind of daunting. However, I try to help people with the second and the third level of it, is to know about different planets and what they operate. For instance, Mercury. And we can talk about Mercury retrograde in a little while.
Lord.
Mercury is how you think. So if you are a certain sign in Mercury, you think like that sign. It's not just your sun sign.
Right.
You could be sun sign Cancer and have Mercury in Gemini, which means you think fast, but you are Cancer.
Right.
So it keeps breaking down.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So can we get away from that? I don't know. You know, Miss Ruth, that was just a pickup line back in the day.
I know that because it's like, girl, what's your sign? Anyway, but back in the day, I remember studying mythology and those type of things, and they would talk about Merlin and the things that Merlin would tell them what was going to happen in the universe, and he opened up his intuitive, even though somebody think he was a myth, he opened his intuitive so that he was able to, through astrology, tell kings, queens, and all of the rulers, Zeus and all of those people, or whoever he was dealing with, what was going to happen in that time so that they could begin to prepare to move forward. So when you're doing astrology with us, is it that healing tool that allows us to know a little bit more about ourselves so that as we move forward, we're doing better?
You know, a mentor of mine, her name is Mama Anita, I call her affectionately, but her name is Anita Grant. She used to say this all the time. Astrology is like the lamp post on the street. Right? You can walk down the block in the dark if you want.
If you want to.
If you want to. And it will not serve you. These lampposts are there to give you signals, to give you warnings, to give you information. Now, this is where I feel like it crosses over into that thing where people think it's like fortune telling. Like Merlin says, this is what's going to happen. In my opinion, you can tell somebody what's going to happen if you pay attention to the lamppost.
Right.
If you don't, it may not happen.
Right.
So, like, an example, Jupiter is a huge planet that brings a lot of abundance. If Jupiter is in your particular sign, you're celestial favorite this year.
Right.
That means the blessings can come to you. Will the blessings come to you if you sit on the couch all day, every day, and watch Steve Harvey?
You got to be involved.
You have to be involved. So you have to access the lamppost. You got to see it. You got to know it. You have to be out there because that's how the universe works. Energy.
Right.
I want to expose you just a little bit, if you don't mind.
Please do.
I know you. I know you personally, and I know that you are a great astrologer. But your intuitive ability is what keeps people coming back to Sonia. It's the truth of the matter. Sonia has a gift that it's pure, and she is very transparent in bringing the information through. And so you use the astrology, but it's your intuitive ability that has really garnered you so much attention and favor with people. So if you don't mind, Sonia, I'd like for you to talk about that a little bit.
Well, to out myself a little further, I think that sometimes we need fronts. And like we were talking about earlier, everyone has a particular front.
I use my coaching.
Exactly. To bring people or to assist them in a way, like it's like a calling card, like a business card. So astrology is that. It's the business card to say, I know A, B, and C, and it looks viable. But if you come and we'll talk about it, then I'll let God do her work after that.
Right.
That's what it looks like for me. Not every astrologer is like that, though.
Right.
A lot of astrologers are extremely technical and stay to the degree and to the sign and to the pinpoint. Like they're more exact when it comes to reading. However, the way I like to do it is when we sit down, we'll have a map. However, if spirit jumps on in,
you go with the flow.
I go with the flow, and I allow God to show me what to talk about.
Yeah, I have several close friends that you've assisted, and even though the astrology bit that you gave them was very helpful, it was the spiritual aspect that you brought into the session that helped them do some deep healing, like from lifetimes, you know, from when they were young, and to release things that they thought they had healed, but hadn't really, they just kind of skated over it. And I know these people know each other, but they've told me the stories differently. Yes. So when did you start allowing that intuitive piece in your life? When did you start allowing it?
Well, I've always been able to see. I've always been extremely intuitive. Like I can feel presence on my back, or I would see somebody walk in a room or something. And as a shorty, it threw me back. And it kind of like made me crazy for a little while. So I kind of shut it down.
Yeah.
And how do you shut it down? When you're 20s, the best way to do is just smoke weed and be out all night.
That's right. That's right.
But it doesn't always work then either. It doesn't always work.
Because they kept coming back.
Right.
You know, I told a friend of mine, this is a crazy story. I used to drink Hennessy back in the day on the rocks. And I was at a party one night, and this girl came and sat next to me. And I could vibrate, spirit said, go on, talk to her. And I'm like, no, I'm at a party. But I said, hey, how you doing? And she said to me, I'm not doing well. My son is very sick, and I don't know if he's going to make it. And girl, something said, I grabbed her hand. I said, don't worry. God is going to heal your son, but you're going to have to make some changes.
Hey.
And thank you, amen, and picked up my drink and was back at the party. But I wasn't trying. I wasn't aware of all of the things that I know now.
Yeah, you don't,
but
and you don't have to
moment,
try.
I was doing meditation, though. But in that moment, that's what was led to me to say, and I did it. Now, how she came out afterwards, I don't know, but I allowed myself to give the message. And I think that when we hear something, we become aware, like you can smoke a joint and take a drink, but you can't run from it because you can't get away from who you are.
So I just decided to just lean in.
Just go with it.
I stopped smoking and was like, okay, what are we going to do? Because if I didn't, I would just, I would be bombarded with it. And at that point, it felt like I was fighting myself.
Right. And you probably were.
Yeah. Because I know I did.
So I would utilize that ability to see. Actually, little break. I I like to say squirrel. I asked God to change it a little bit. I think that we can negotiate.
We can.
I think that we can sit back and be like, you know what? I want you to do this. This is what I say. I want to do this work, Spirit, but I don't want to see them.
Yeah.
Like, can you just stop having them show up like in a solid form, standing at the door, looking at me like, I need you to talk to. No. I don't want to, because you're going to make me crash. Or, I'm going to fall and bust my lip. So I just see images. I see images, and I see like places, and I see colors, and sometimes I smell certain things. I hear laughter. It's more audible and slightly visual.
Right.
So utilizing that ability, and I like to say, like, sometimes you see me right now, but you can see your kitchen in your mind. That's how I see the images.
Right.
So I utilize that with the astrology, and when they intercede, I can feel it kind of come up over me, and I don't know.
I
absolutely did.
I completely understand what you're saying.
Okay, it looks like we have a caller.
Before. We have a caller?
Yeah, we have a caller. If you can put your headphones in so we can hear. Hello, caller. Thank you for calling in. How can we help you?
Hi, Precious. It's Cynthia.
It's who?
Cynthia.
Hi, Cynthia. Thank you for calling in.
Oh, Rick. I just wanted to thank you. I'm so emotional at the time. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. Cynthia, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Taking a breath.
Okay.
Taking a breath. Breathe in a little bit, Cynthia. Take a breath.
Yes. I'm thinking, and I'm so glad that you're doing this. I've come a long way, and I just wanted to thank you. And this show, I've been taking in my breath, standing still, and I just really wanted to say thank you to both of you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
And also this other lady. I also wanted to ask a question, because I always thought astrology was like, not a part of the religion, or you couldn't adapt both things. And how I stopped looking into that just because of that mindset. And, now at the age, as I'm getting older, I'm hearing all these new things, accepting things, and not, not so being so religious, but being more spiritual. And as I'm hearing your guys' show, it's opening my eyes and my third ear.
Yes.
To new things. And sometimes it brings me to tears.
We understand.
Not in a bad way.
Oh, we
but
understand.
In the way of, I'm not crazy.
No, you're not.
There is other people, like me, and I want to get to a place of, because I know that the Spirit is with me all the time, and me and Precious have talked about this a lot, and she just tells me to be still, but it's hard to be still. It really is.
It becomes harder not to be still the more you get into the work. Being still is really a beautiful thing. Like Sonia mentioned earlier, it's about surrendering. Was there a question specifically you had for Sonia?
Yes. So, Sonia, I always gaze upon the star, and I'm a moon person. And I feel like the moon gravitates, our whole earth, and it's a certain direction all the time. And even though it's not a star, it is, I guess I wouldn't call it a planet, but it's there serves as a purpose. When or how do you think that, that could be used in I guess, in astrology, because I don't think the moon is considered in there, if that makes sense.
Well, the moon is a very important part of astrology. Yes. I mean, everything that's in our universe contributes to the way energy flows, not only on our planet, but in our entire solar system. So the moon's responsibility for our planet, since it's our moon, the Earth's moon, is to display a couple of different things. Is to display emotions. It tells us how we emotionally respond to things, our knee-jerk reaction to things that happen throughout our day. It also has to do with karmic relationships. And lastly, but not limited to, our relationships with our moms. So when we come through our mother's womb, the moon represents how we would respond to our mother. The moon is incredible.
Yes,
the thing about the moon, though, that we have to, in my opinion, steer clear of is that, or I should say recognize, is that it's fluctuating. It's so beautiful in that way. You go through that first quarter, then that new moon, and then that third quarter, then that full moon. Like it becomes like its own little dance and rhythmic expression. So the best way, in my opinion, to relate to the moon is just to go with it. It's like the tide in the ocean. If you fight her, then you explode. If you allow her to just roll and to breathe into you as you breathe, you'll discover new colors about yourself, about your awareness and everything. And the awareness of the things around you. And I wanted to say that in response to your tears right now, because your tears are big representations of the moon's energy in this moment. So if you fall into that and just let yourself continuously cry, you'll empty out. And what Spirit, in my opinion, is trying to show you and pour into you is this new idea that's trying to wash up over you. But if you hold yourself closed and not cry and not release, then you're not going to get the new information. Let me touch upon what you started to ask earlier. Astrology is a tool, like we alluded to earlier. It is only a tool. Like Christianity is a tool. Here's the thing, is that Christianity is such a wonderful tool, but they came in on some humanistic thing and tried to control everybody with it. And it started to throw the situation upside down. So when it started to control, it threw everything else out of the way. Astrology, metaphysics, yoga, whatever it is you want to anything else you want to practice and whatever tool you want to use, they threw it out the water. I mean, out in the trash. So the bottom line is that if we were to look at religion as a tool itself,
Exactly.
along with other tools that we can put in our tool belt, it only makes us stronger, and it gives our power back to us.
Right.
That's the bottom line of it. So don't be afraid of it, and take whatever it is you can take, and throw away the rest.
Yes.
Like some things may apply, and some things may not. This is your
That's
journey.
right.
Your individual
I'm speaking
journey.
from my
Talking about
journey. It
self-mastery.
works for me, but you take what you need to take and roll with it.
Yes.
Right. Self-mastery.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you for
Allowing
calling
yourself
in,
to open.
Cynthia.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank
And
you.
we invite others to call in as well. Thank you.
Bless your heart, Cynthia.
Oh, much blessings. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for calling.
And I love that our caller touched on that subject more, because people do need to hear that. When they feel something that resonates with their spirit, but they say, well, my religion won't allow it. This is not a religious practice.
Not at
This
all.
is just simply a tool. And like you said, take what you want from it. I noticed that when you give messages and divine intuition, people only hear a fraction of it anyway.
Yeah.
That's why writing it down or recording it is good also. And use what you can, and the rest, don't.
Absolutely.
I love that. I love
Yeah,
that.
and do a review of it, so that, because each time you read or hear, you're going to get something new
Something
from
more
it.
and different.
But we have to remember that religion opens the door to the universe of everything that's available. If when you go into your Bible, you'll hear where Moses went into the mountains. He went alone. He didn't take an entourage with him. He went, he was still, and he heard. When Joseph would hear the things that were going to happen in his life, he was out with the sheep, doing things, but he was listening, looking at the moon, looking at the stars. That's
They
all
utilize the
astrology.
universal
And
Right.
utilizing the universal
Right.
tools.
Absolutely.
So we have to remember, don't live in limitation. This universe is so big. You don't have to live just in LA. You can go to San Diego. But we kind of get caught up in a box of how we think it has to be done. What do you think about that?
I think it's a conspiracy.
I love it.
I straight go to that space in my mind, because I just believe that as a society and just...
We have another caller.
Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead, finish your thought.
Oh, I was going to say, as a society and people on the planet, that we're so used to being controlled.
We
Are
are.
looking for somebody else to lead us.
Well, yeah, we're looking. What happens is that we've become controlled, and then next thing you know, when we want to go outside the house, we're not confident in our abilities,
Right.
Because they didn't say go out the house.
Right,
That's
right,
right.
right. Looking to someone else for direction. Caller, thank you for calling in. How can we help you?
Well, angel blessings to you beautiful ladies on the show today.
Thank you.
Is this Cynthia Wade?
I'm not sure.
No, this is Sandra McDaniel.
Hey, Sandra.
And I only have a short minute because I am tied up right now.
Okay.
So I wanted to say congratulations to both of you hosts
Thank
Thank
you.
for that show that you have reached out and manifested at least one of your dreams, because I know there's many, many more.
Yes.
But I have a question for Sonia.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
understand that we are in a transitional period now.
So many.
There's Mercury in the retrograde.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Actually, Mercury went retrograde yesterday.
Okay. And because of the full moon that we are experiencing, because it went into retrograde as of yesterday, it became what they call a supermoon. Can you expound on your listening audience what effect and what does that mean for us now going into with us being in our last, I guess, quarter of the year, going into a new year?
Let me define supermoon, because I think people overuse it. Supermoon is only applicable when there are other transitional moments in the universe that happen along with a major transition. Okay.
What I'm going to do, Sonia, what I'm going to do, because it's my call, the information is breaking up,
Okay.
and I only have a short minute, I'm going to take you off the call, and I'm going to listen to you
Thank you.
live
Okay.
on the
Thank
show.
you.
Thank you for calling
Thank you
in.
for calling in.
Okay. Have a great day, ladies.
Thank you.
So the bottom line is that supermoon becomes overused, right? So if something major is happening with the moon, like a full moon, new moon, or an eclipse of both, the full or the new, what happens if there are other planetary configurations that hit that or mark that, then it becomes super. It becomes more powerful, so to speak. However, so yesterday, the full moon was in Gemini, as well as Mercury going in retrograde in Sagittarius. Let me break it down real quick. Again, the moon has to do with emotions. Mercury has to do with communication. Also, how we think, how we process information, and how we want people to communicate with us. Also has to do with technology, right? And driving and short trips. So what happens normally when Mercury goes retrograde is we're late. We misunderstand people.
Text messages get messed up.
Text messages, the computer starts freaking out. Like, you I don't know, you get into car accidents a lot. Now, check this out. Every Mercury retrograde, and normally there are 3 in a year, and they last for about 3 weeks, right? The purpose of Mercury retrograde is to slow down.
Got it.
Yes.
And what people don't do is slow down enough, so they get into these accidents, or they misunderstand people. They don't ask them again, I'm sorry, what did you say? To make it clear, right? So if you slow down, Mercury says slow down so we can get information better. Slow down so you can clean your house. Slow down so you can take your time getting to where you need to go, because other messages are coming in. Right. Now, since that moon was full, those messages have to do with communication, interestingly enough, because it was in Gemini, and Gemini rules communication. So it's about really listening.
Yes.
And this is so apropos that we're talking about intuition and meditation, because
this is the time.
Super moon has hit that Mercury retrograde to say not only slow down, but slow down so you can hear what it is you need to say, because information is processing way too quickly, and you can miss the mark.
Well, we have come to the end of our show.
That's so sad.
We are going to have you come back on. We're going to have you come back on sometime in 2018 and grace us with your presence again. It was awesome having you with us. It's always a pleasure seeing you, Queen.
I love you, precious.
Always. Thank you. And please let the audience know how to get in touch with you.
My website, please, at wordlifeastrology.com. That's wordlifeastrology.com.
WORD.
Word, not world.
Word. Word life. Yes. And can they get in touch with you if they want to schedule maybe an astrology reading with you?
Absolutely. There's a reading page on the website, but I'm also on Instagram at Word Life Sonia Marie, and Word Life Astrology on Facebook as well.
Well, thank you guys for joining us. We're going to have Dr. Sananda in with us next week, and our topic will be peace. We look forward to seeing you then. And thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
Oh, it's on.
Yeah, I'm excited. This was really good. It was really good having you.
Nice.
Time went quick.